Okay, let's see if this is working a little bit better now. Let me check this out. Okay, yes, it is. Happy Sunday, y'all. Had a little bit of a hiccup there. Almost did another live stream, and that would have put everybody into a tailspin. But I finally got her going now. If you're watching on replay, just go ahead and scrub past this graphic. It took me a couple of seconds to get everything figured out because my interface changed again. Thank you, Streamlabs OBS. Now I'll bring it up, reach over, hit the magic button, and say, Happy Sunday, y'all. How y'all doing? Oh, man. Streamlabs OBS did another update and changed the whole interface as to how this works. So what I used to do was hit go live in Streamlabs OBS, then come over to the YouTube studio and click go live, and it would start broadcasting. Now I click go live in Streamlabs OBS and it brings up a panel. I have to figure out which stream I'm going to. Oh my gosh. Well, anyway, enough inside baseball stuff. Happy Sunday. How's everybody doing? Today is going to be kind of an open question and answer. I don't have anything particular in mind. It's just kind of whatever you want to know. I'll do what I can. And if I know, I'll tell you. If I don't know, I will try to find a place where you can find out. Before we go any further, though, I do want to mention that Michael Mazalik, for his premiere this afternoon, is starting a series that I'm really excited about. I know a lot of people have asked me questions on this topic, and I have not been able to get enough experience to where I feel comfortable doing any videos on them. But he is going to start a series this afternoon on creating badgers. Not badgers as in the animal that runs around, but firefighters' badges, police badges. I'm sure a lot of this could be used for military emblems and insignia as well. But today at 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Pacific, is his first video on the subject of creating badges in Aspire. So there is a link to that video in the description of this video right now. And there is a link to his previous video where he was talking about sculpting. Now, Michael posts 2 videos a week. He does one on Wednesdays, one on Sundays currently. I don't know how much longer he's going to be doing that, or if that's going to be a permanent fixture of his channel. But let me just say right now, if you are not subscribed to Michael and you have Aspire, you are really doing yourself a disservice. This guy is a wizard. He makes it look so easy. But I'm here to tell you from experience, if you follow along and not only do the examples that he is doing, but branch out on your own, make different shapes, and use his techniques, you will be amazed at what you can do. So, I hope to see you guys this afternoon at Michael's premiere. And by all means, do subscribe to his channel. He's got some excellent content there. I'm really, really happy to see him posting on his experiences and educating all of us, because, I mean, it's dynamite stuff. So, hope to see you this afternoon. Link in the description. Let me go ahead and dive into some questions. The easy one first. John Howard wants to know, did I lower my ears? Yes, sir, I did. She took quite a bit off. Way too much off. My hair is fine and it is very straight. It does what it wants to do. And that's all there is to it. So when she cut it that short, it just flops straight down. And I could part it in the middle and do an alfalfa from the little rascals in the back if I wanted to, but that's about it. So yeah, I got a haircut. I just couldn't handle it anymore. And I think I lost 5 pounds in the process. But we shall see. Okay, let me cruise up here and see if we have any questions here. We just kind of cruising along here. Rick French saying he's got bins full of wood for the patio fire pit. And yeah, I mentioned it before and I'll keep mentioning it. That's why I call my planer the eraser. If at first you don't succeed, eliminate any evidence of the attempt, then everything is fine. Yeah, you can you end up with some thin stock, but you'll find a use for it, believe me. So let's see. Let me keep cruising down the road here and looking for, yeah, and IL Peleg is wondering if anybody uses UGS. He's having some issues, and if you've got some answers for him, by all means, help him out. Help him out here. Let's see, still cruising around looking to see, did anybody have any questions? Steve Perdue, Mark, did you just wake up? It's afternoon in the Central Time Zone. No, I'm on the West Coast. It is 12:07 p.m. as I record this right now. So, what can I say? Dave Blackburn wants to know, have I done a video on sharpening bits? No, I haven't. Peter Pasuelo over on his channel, CNC Nuts, did a video on dressing V-bits and bits that have a flat backside to the cutter. We're talking carbide insert, of course. I have dressed them up a little bit myself using a diamond sharpening stone, but other than that, I don't sharpen spiral end mills. I know you can get them sharpened, but I've not done it myself. And I've got some, let's see, I got some opinions on that. You can get router bits, even upcut and downcut spiral end mill sharpened. And it just, depending upon the sharpening service and who does it, they can run anywhere from $6 to $7, $8 per bit. So you can see it doesn't take long before you end up paying the cost of buying a new one. So getting them sharpened once or twice, that's fine. However, when you do that, if you do turn them in for sharpening, ask them to measure the bit with their micrometers and everything after they've done the sharpening, because it's going to change that bit's diameter. Now, if it's something like a V bit or an OG bit where you're just dressing up the backside of the carbide cutter, that difference isn't going to be much, if any, really, because you're just more or less flattening out. It's kind of like dressing up the back of a plane iron. So the size isn't really going to change. But on a spiral end mill, it certainly will change. So if they can't or won't measure it for you, get out a micrometer and measure the diameter of that bit, and then enter that new bit in your tool database. Because, even if it's let's say you have a 1/4 inch end mill sharpened, it may be reduced down from 0.25 to 0.24 or 0.23. just depending on how far they had to go to get a good edge on it. If you're using expensive bits, that's a good option. But if you're like me and you're too cheap to pay out the money for expensive bits, and I'm only paying $13 for a end mill, one sharpening, I've already paid half the price of a replacement. So, it doesn't really do me much good to turn them in to have sharpened. So, but the short answer is no, I have not done any videos on sharpening. But Peter Pasuelo has done one, and I will link his video down in the description of this video as soon as we're finished live here. So, let's see. Jeff, JMJ Love Dance, says, is there a way to limit the number of fonts in VCarve Pro? Let's say you only want to see about 10 or 20 when you put text into a drawing. You're not going to like it. The only way to limit the number of fonts you see in VCarve Pro is limit the number of fonts you have installed on your computer. Now, you can, let me bring up Aspire here, and we'll do a screen share. Make sure I'm sharing here. You can go up here into, let's see, is it Toolpaths? No, it's not. It is Options here. Go up to the Edit menu, go into Options, and further down here, you can set your recent font list size. You can change that number right here just by clicking and changing the number. Then click off of it, select OK. Then when you go into your text tool over here, your draw text tool, and you see how long it takes for mine to load. It really takes a while because I have a bunch of fonts. I have about 1,300 fonts on this computer. What the text tool will do is show you, now that I've changed it, it'll show me the last 10 fonts that I have used. So they will be up at the top, and then after these 10, it will list them in alphabetical order. So that's about the best you can do. It will show you the last 10 that you used, and then from there, just give you the standard list. But as far as shortening this list down so you only see 10 or 20, your only option really is to just not have that many fonts installed on the computer. Sorry, I mean, that's just the way it is. So, okay, let's come back over here to y'all and see what's going on. Hope that answered that question. Now, let me see. Come down here and look for more questions. Let's see. Tales of Matt says, do you have a video on drawing curves? I have a hard time getting the curves to flow smoothly. I don't have any videos specifically on drawing curves. If what I tend to do if I need to draw a curve is I will do a 3-point arc. I have a start point and an end point and kind of adjust that center point to about where I need it, then click and release it. If you're trying to trace a image, just remember that in using Beziers, well, I should do a video on drawing curves because there are several ways of adjusting the handles on a Bezier curve. I will put it on the list, but if you're adjusting Bezier curves, all I can say is experiment. And the fewer points you have in a curve, usually the better. It depends if you're doing a long, graceful curve, 1 or 2 points. Well, take that back. 2 or 3 points or nodes is about all you need. You don't need to go crazy with points to try to exactly match the curve you're trying to get. So by stretching out those handles and moving their positions, you can generally get the curve you're looking at. But if you have a big flat spot in the middle of, say, an arc, just delete that point, adjust the handles at both ends to try to make up that curve. Usually when you're talking about long curves, the fewer points, the better, because they just get in the way and you end up with jagged curves. So I hope that helped. Okay, let's see here. Lewis Denton. I machined a 3D STL flag I bought on Etsy. Easy to do. Do you have any 3D files for sale? No, I do not. I don't sell 3D files. I'm just not quite good enough yet. The only files that I have for sale on my website are 50 states of the U.S. plus the District of Columbia. I have a pack of DXF files that I think I listed for $7 or something like that. But I am working on, I can't use a trademark name. I'm working on another pack of tiles that look like a popular board game that you spell out on a board, taking turns. You'll know what I mean. But it has absolutely nothing to do with the game Scrabble. That's a trademark, and I'm not making Scrabble tiles, but I'm making something cool. I'm just not ready to release it yet. So, let's see. Mark Kulig wants to know about modeling resolutions. Can you make something on low resolution until you're done, then change it before you save it? Or once you start with high or low, is that what you end up with? You can go back and change the modeling resolution. However, let me say that it's usually best to start if I know I'm going to be using or doing any kind of 3D modeling, I will just go ahead and put it on very high, which is 7 times slower. Having said that, I have a gaming computer here. I've got a lot of RAM and nice fast processor. It's only about a year old. And so that generally renders pretty quickly for me. But I find that by setting it at very high resolution as I'm drawing, if you do something like create a vector boundary around a 3D model at that lower resolution, that vector boundary is going to be jagged like the edges of those models. So I try to get as many points in there, as many pixels into that 3D model as I can that I think I'm going to need. Generally speaking, I don't need to use the super high resolutions, the 2 extras that you can get by holding down shift when you go into job setup. But the short answer to the question is yes, you can go back and change the resolution. I just prefer not to because it makes for a smoother model to begin with. So, hope that answers that. Let's see. Michael Smith finally got in. Yay! Welcome aboard. Okay, let's see. Tommy Jaskolski says, I'm doing a panel 74.5 by 12 inches. I'm carving a design in the center of the full length, doing it in 2 tiles along Y. I set an offset boundary of 1/8 of an inch around the entire panel. My question is, do I set my XY at X0, Y0, or do I set it at 120? Okay, I see. In your material setup, you included an offset of 1/8 of an inch around the entire panel. that's what you should use. That position is what you should use out on the machine. If you put an offset, that's the position you should use. Now, having said that, practice on a piece of scrap. Draw something simple like a square. Put a V-bit in your machine. Take a piece of scrap and clamp it down and use those exact same settings and double check it. Make sure I'm right. You might need to set your XY0 down at that bottom left corner. Your XY0. You might want to double check me on this. I don't use offsets for just that reason. So, I hope that helps. Let's see. Bill's. Okay, wait a minute. Nope, I got to go back. I missed one. John Casca, have you done a video on how to create a shaker type cabinet door? No, I haven't, but when I get moved into the shop, I'm going to be building all of my shop furniture, and I do have plans on making one shaker type cabinet door. So, but that'll be later on this summer, maybe this fall. I'm not sure. So, let's see. Bill Stauffer wants to know, where is the file located that contains the post processors? You know what? Good question. I'm not sure. Let me look. I think it is... See, I don't think it's in the application data folder. Yes, it is. Go to the file menu at the top left corner and click on File. Then about midway down, you'll see Open Application Data Folder. And click on that, and it'll open the application data for the version you're using right now. And the folder is Post P. That's where all the post processors are. So, that was easy. Excuse me. Let's see. Benchmark Design. Mark, thanks for the advice on the skateboard question via email last week. I hope you got that straightened out, Mark. That was a very interesting concept. I'm going to be doing some projects down the road that will take similar shapes. And so that's going to be pretty cool. Yeah, I hope it worked out for you. Okay, let's see. David Pingle wants to know, can you mix imperial and metric tools in the same carving? Yes, sir, you can. And in fact, when I get out, I got some bits here, and I have more on the way, should be here tomorrow. These are itty-bitty, teeny tiny things. We're talking 15-degree V-bits. These are metric. And you can use metric tools and imperial tools on the same project. You just have to remember that that's what you did and use the proper tool. And that's why I put the bit name in the G-code file title when I save G-code. Because these bits here, for instance, are 6mm. They are not 1/4" shank. So that means I had to buy a 6mm collet for my router. So, but more on that down the road. And yes, that's going to be used for inlays. So, let's see. Did I miss anybody's question up above? My chat jumped on me. So, John Harold says, almost never will the create component from bitmap work on the image that's already imported in highlight. Usually I really need it to, but it always opens a window to desktop. Huh. Well, you have to have a you have to have a bitmap imported into the software and have it selected, because otherwise what it's going to do is send you to a Explorer file, and you'll have to navigate to the bitmap you want to do that with. So import a bitmap into, let me make sure that I've got that right. I don't do that often. Here, model, create component from bitmap. And yes, that's what it does. When you say create component from bitmap, it opens up an Explorer window. Then you've got to navigate to that bitmap. So let's see. John Howard wants to know, could I make a cutting board handle with arc? You can. It just depends on how you want to draw it out. You can use arcs, Beziers, straight lines, whichever. You certainly can. So, Bob Hiltebridle, are you going to be doing any more videos with Vectric? I can't say yes, but I will not say no. I mean, just this is inside baseball. When we did the last collaboration with Vectric, of course, Todd and I spoke in the background, and he said he definitely wanted to have me back. They haven't reached out to me as of yet, but I sure hope so. That was really a great opportunity for me. That was a lot of fun. It was a fun project to do. But it was a good experience as well. There may be more later on. Some stuff is cooking in the background. We shall see. I don't know. All I can say is keep your eyes open. I mean, you never know what'll happen. Okay, let's see. Rob Sandstrom wants to know, where do you get collets for metric bits? That's going to depend on which router or spindle you have. I'll put a link to the company I got my collet from. It's a company called Elaire Corporation. My CNC uses a Porter Cable Model 890 series router. So I had to find a metric collet for it. And this company, Elaire Corporation, they have them. That's who I got my 1/8 inch collet from. They make collets for more than just Porter Cable, believe me. I know they make them for Makita, for, oh my gosh, DeWalt. If you can think of a router manufacturer, almost, they just about all of them they cover in one way or another. And it just so happened they had the metric size I needed. So I went ahead and picked it up. And they're about $22, $23, something like that. For mine, anyway. So let me go back up here. I hope that answered the question. Let's see. Somebody pointed out that Romeo Hesh had a question. Okay, there we go. He says, I bit the bullet and upgraded to Aspire. Welcome aboard. Now, is there a way to use the project I did in VCarve Desktop and tweak them? Yes, there is. What you'll want to do is just go into Aspire, go to File, Open, navigate to the folder that those files are located in, and select the file that you want to use. Aspire will open everything that was designed in VCarve, and you're all set. Now, this is kind of getting a little on the technical side. Let me open up a folder here and see if I can find a file. Find one here that I have used in a video. Yeah, this is real exciting, I know. Let me find something that I have used in a... Yeah, there we go. Okay. So I will screen share now and make sure I am screen sharing. I am. Okay. For instance, I've navigated to a folder where I have a CRV file that I created in VCarve. So I can select that file, then right-click it, go to Properties, and right here, type of file, this is a Vectric CRV file, I have it set to open with Aspire 10.5. I can click the Change button, and it will search for a application to open it with. And I have mine set for Aspire 10.5, which is okay. That's what I want it to do. Then I'll hit cancel here because I'm not making any changes. And now, even though that's a CRV file, if I double click it, it opens up in Aspire. It doesn't try to open VCarve, which is a good thing because I don't have it on this computer. So there is that file. Now the only thing is, if I go to save this, it's going to bring up the Save As window and save it as an Aspire file. So do know that. Now, if you don't want to save it as an Aspire file, you can click the drop-down menu and save it as the VCarve file, and it'll save just as it was. But you'll be replacing the file, but that's okay. So that's how you would change it around to where Aspire opens those CRV files instead of VCarve Pro. So I hope that answers that question. All right, let's see here. Let's get back over to you guys. I have two windows I got to bring up to come back and find questions. Okay. Let's see. Let me come down here. I hope that answers that question. T-Button wants to know, can I take a 1/4 inch cut depth with a white side 1541 bit in one pass? I don't know. Practice on scrap and have a second bit on standby. I mean, you'll know, believe me. I tend to run a shallower cut depth so I can run faster feed rates. Generally speaking, I run half the bit's cutting diameter as my pass depth on my end mills, just standard end mills. But the white side 1541, I'm not exactly sure what that is. I think the 1541 is just a standard end mill, isn't it? Down cut, I believe. I'm not sure. So let's see. Todd H. CNC says, I think Amana has collets too. I'm not sure if they do or not. Precise Bits has collets for some routers, but just about every spindle, whether you're using, ER20 or what have you, they have a lot of collets, and that's a company called Precise Bits. I've not bought through them, but let's see. I'll make sure to put a link to them in the description of this video, as well as Elair Corporation, as soon as we're finished live here. Let's see. Okay, it is a 60-degree V-bit. I see. Okay, I see what you're saying. The Whiteside 1541 is you're seeing a line midway down due to the 0.1 pass depth. That is usually down to tramming. Your router is either tilted one way or the other or nodding one way or the other. Another thing to look for is it actually a 60-degree bit? 60-degree V-bit, that's a nominal measurement. It could be 59, it could be 61. I'm going to link again to Peter Pasqualo. He did a video a couple years back now on how to check a V-bit's angle. And it's worth looking at because I saw that video and I thought, well, how off could it be? And I checked all of my V-bits, and one of my 90-degree V-bits was 87 degrees, and one of my 60s was 59. But I didn't know that until I checked him with his method, and I'll put a link to his video in the description of this video when I'm done here. Get you a piece of scrap MDF and do his test. He's got the files for free for download that you'll need to run to check them. And make that adjustment, and that line will disappear. The quality of your VCarves will go way up. So, okay. Let's see. Chef Bart wants to know, can you do a text drafting angle without having Aspire software? I just have VCarve Pro. Okay, text drafting angle. Okay, are you talking about applying draft to a, for instance, if you were going to carve a mold? Is that what you're talking about? I want to make sure before I comment on it. Ronald has a question. Let me scroll up and see. I probably missed it. I do try to catch them all. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. How far back did you ask the question, Ronald? Yeah, you might want to re-ask because I'm not seeing it. I apologize for that. Let's see. And Rick French also has a good point. Could also be a slightly broken tip. It could also be a nick in that cutting edge. So, okay, let's see. Okay, Chef Bart says yes, he's talking about adding draft in VCarve. I don't think so because that is a 3D function, and you can't create a 3D model in VCarve. I don't have VCarve on this computer to check, but I do not think you can add draft. You're talking about a drafting angle on text when you stack text. Okay, for something like that, an angle, adding draft to that, wow, I would have to look. I don't think you can in VCarve, unless you cheat the system and cut it with something like a 10-degree V-bit and create an offset around, or use the prism tool, which I have not done a video on either. But I don't think you can. Okay, yeah, Mike Mazalik just confirmed you can't add draft in VCarve. Let me look at that, and I'll see if I can play around with it there, Chef Bart. Add draft. Boy, I wish I could get to my CNC router because there's so many things I want to test out and want to try. So I don't have an answer for you just yet. You could create an offset around the text and use something like a 10-degree V-bit to give you that angle, but you'd really have to play with it, or possibly even, I don't know. Let me play with it. I don't want to send you on the wrong direction. So you could use a V-bit, but as Michael says, it would be a challenge. Okay, Brian Harkin wants to know, what is the website for Peter? I'm talking about his YouTube channel. It's called CNC Nuts, and I will link both of those videos in the description box of this video as soon as we're done live. Until, and when you get to one of those videos, by all means, subscribe to his channel. Not only is Peter good at what he does, he's just, a wealth of information, believe me. So let me go back here and see if I can find Ronald's question. I'm really not trying to ignore you. I'm just trying to find it. And let's see. I'm not seeing it. I'm really not. Oh, boy. This is crazy. Nope, I am not seeing it, Ronald. If you could ask that question again, I'll make sure to get to it. I am not seeing it at all. I'm not seeing anything from you. Wow. Yeah, I went all the way back to the top. I don't see anything. So, let me just say, Chef Bart, that this is you say this is a deciding factor on whether I go for Aspire or not. I would say flat out, if it's in your budget, go for Aspire. I know it's a lot of money. Believe me, I have Aspire. I know it's a lot of money. But you have so many options using Aspire versus VCarve that even if you don't think you're going to create 3D models, you don't have to make detailed models to be able to use some of the options that are available to you in Aspire that are not available to you in VCarve. Just the ability to simply, easily import more than one STL file, that's an added benefit. VCarve has a lot of 3D capability, but VCarve never was meant to be a 3D modeling program. That's what Aspire is. So they've added a lot of functionality to VCarve. But if you really are going to get into creating or editing 3D shapes, you need to go with Aspire. And I don't know, if you're doing this as a business, it's a business expense. You know the deal. It's deductible. But yeah, I understand it's a lot of money. But also, having said that, it's income tax time, so that's what I did. I used my income tax refund. So, what the heck? So, okay, let's see. It is, well, we've been on here for 45 minutes. So, Ronald, I did not see a question, and a couple of other people. Thank you. A couple of other people. Thank you, Michael Johnson. Okay, let's see. I got two questions here, and then that'll be it. Let's see. I lost arrow key functions on the keyboard with Mach 3 is there, but have all other functions. Is there something I can do to regain them key functions? I have to use the controls through MDI. Okay. In Mach 3, what you will need to do... Oh, man. I'm trying to remember where it is. Go to the help file in Mach 3 and look for keyboard shortcuts. Or hotkeys, excuse me, not keyboard shortcuts. Look for hotkeys. And I don't remember which menu it is off the top of my head. I've got to get Mach 3 put on this computer. You can set the hotkeys. I'm willing to bet you that somehow that got corrupted. And all you'll do once you get into that window is it will ask you which function and which key you want to do, and you click it and then press the key, and it assigns that hotkey to that function. I wish I could think of just load Mach 3, go into the help file and look for hotkeys, and that'll walk you through it. So, Romeo Hesh wants to know, can you do raised lettering in a dish, or is there a video on it? Yes, you can do raised lettering in a dish. A couple of different ways that I can think of. And as a matter of fact, not the next video, but the video after that, I'm going to do just that. So look in about 4 weeks. Okay? And maybe 5. I'm not sure. Real quick, like, Mr. Coffee Paul, can you edit G-code in Vectric? No, you cannot. Vectric doesn't open up G-code. You go to the G-code file. You should be able to open it up with Notepad and let you edit the G-code there. But you cannot open up, and you cannot reverse engineer from G-code either. People ask me that a lot. Can I load G-code into Vectric and have it bring up the drawing? No, you cannot. It doesn't work that way. Okay, been on for a little over 45 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and say that's it for today. Next week, I'm going to have a video on something that I mentioned last week, but only half of the story. I'm going to get into material setup and model placement within the material. And I think that that's something that's long overdue. So yeah, that's going to be next week's video. Then after that, I'm going to get back into level clipping, and we'll get a little bit more advanced. And that's when we'll discuss putting raised letters in the bottom of a dish, etc., etc., etc. Because that's one way of doing it. But again, let me play around with it, and we'll to make sure that I've got this 100% correct. So, having said that, I do hope to catch you all on Michael Mazalik's video later on this afternoon. It starts again at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, over on his YouTube channel. There is already a link in the description of this video. Just look down there, and as soon as I'm done, click it, and it'll take you over to the premiere, and hope to see you in the chat over there. Thank you very much. Thank you to everybody who has been hitting the super chats and hitting the donate button down there in the description. And you guys, I've said it before, I'll say it again, you're the best viewers on YouTube, and I really appreciate your support more than you will ever know. Have a good weekend, what's left of it. Have a good, safe, productive week. And above all, go do something cool. Go make some chips. After you've watched Michael's video, of course. Y'all take care.